zoning,
Bridge.
road and bridge and zoning weekly meeting. We have an agenda here. The first thing, we have a couple of small items that we want to take care of first. And then we will take up progressive irrigation and then the traffic safety committee recommendations. Go ahead, Larry.
So the first is final plat and development agreement for Badger Creek Division Number 2. There are 4 copies there. I think, signed.
Okay, we've discussed this previously, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't need signatures on it. And then the development agreement will need a signature. Actually, do you have that copy of the road agreement? Next is a road agreement with Go West Timber Management to do some road plowing on Long Gulch Road. And it is basically for the next month that they want to get in there before the road is completely cleared out from us and harvest some timber.
That's the one Race Lake, Long Gulch.
No, it is off of Swan Valley Highway 26. It was the Snake River Road. It goes up about halfway between the dam and Fall Creek. I was going to Progressive Irrigation.
All right, then the next matter we'll take up is a progressive irrigation districts and a discussion regarding the use permit that has been revoked. Do you want to start or?
Ray, do you want to come up here? And
You got land.
well, I know, but we talked mostly the other day, so you know kind of where we're at and where our starting point is. So I
Okay.
told Ray the other day when he came into the office that really just our big concern, obviously, as was stated in the letter, was the state of 105 and what's been happening to the road as part of the hauling, and that's the reasoning for meeting together today. In the use permit and conditions 4 and 5, it was essentially outlined that through time, we would evaluate the traffic patterns and the effects on the road and determine if there was additional things that were needed to be done to protect the county roadways, things like that. So we're really here today just to talk about solutions, talk about, I guess, what Progressive's take is on that roadway and what ways we can improve this moving forward, so.
And just to introduce Ray Suitter is our project manager for our recharge projects in Progressive Irrigation. So I've asked Ray to be here. We have representatives from our contractor Bateman Brothers Construction here as well. We also have Cooper Fritz, who is with the Idaho Department of Water Resources. He's over recharge projects. So Ray, I'll let you lead out and talk about what's going on with the removal of the little pile of dirt out there on our project.
Well, I guess, yeah, what we're doing there, I guess, is we're damaging the road. So we're here to see, if we want to be good neighbors and we want to figure out a solution. We have to have the pile gone. We can't have the pile because the piles are causing problems leaving them. So we have to move the material to have a recharge site. So we're here for suggestions and open on how to do this. We did talk yesterday with the contractor that's removing the material, that they would run the trucks one way, go up one road one way and come back a different road. So they'd be rotating, you know, go this way loaded and this way empty. The problem up there, I think, is the road is narrow, the equipment's big and the trucks are running on the shoulder. Is that right, Lance? Is that?
That is most of it, yeah.
So we're thinking that if we can get those trucks and stay within your load limits and run them one way, so they're not having to pass, as big as the equipment is, the road's narrow. So we want to move the material. We just want you to give us some guidelines and some help and we'll come to a solution and hopefully get our permit back.
So the other problem with this is even if the trucks are loaded less, with the number of trucks, and the number of equivalent single axle loads that a dump truck is like that it's still going to likely damage the road unless the road itself is built to a commercial grade standard, which most of these county roads are not built to a commercial grade standard. They can handle some trucks, but they can't handle 300 trucks a day for months on end.
With the load.
Well, the loads are part of it, but even if they were just very lightly loaded, I think 300 trucks a day for 5 months on end is still gonna show some damage to the road.
How many trucks are we running a day? Do you know?
We can, like, there's 12 trucks, it's an average of about 150 loads a day, give or take. I would say
150
an average of
loads.
150 loads a day.
So 300 trips,
No, that's, there, like, oh, that's it.
like one way or one way and back.
150 round trips.
Round trips, yes.
So if it's on one
150
road, it's
yeah,
300
trucks.
trucks on that
So yes.
road.
And my understanding is we haven't been running those trucks fully loaded.
No, I have documentation, they're all very much.
Yeah, I have those here because
Yeah, I
Honestly,
just,
said-
if you can give that to us and that way Lance can look at that and see what those load weights are. And
okay,
look at that too.
this is what Bateman's furnished this morning, so we could bring it to the meeting. That's tons. They're on the column 2.
Okay. Load sheet.
Yeah,
is
and then,
these
yeah,
are tons.
and
Okay.
then that's what the trucks are licensed for. Is that correct? Is that?
I gathered him up last night because it was absolutely last minute,
Right.
you know, as I was heading out the door. So for example, the first page, the truck and pups are licensed for 110,000 pounds. That gives them a 34-ton net payload. We are loading them at 24 each, 23 to 25 ton. The side dumps are licensed to where they would haul 28 ton. And again, we're loading them at 25 each, trying to keep them in there at the 25 ton.
So you're roughly about 50,000 pounds a load is
Yes.
what you would be
Yes.
on all your loads. Okay.
So I have with pup. The B is,
What's that?
describe what this is. So you have, is this
Okay,
Just
this would be
the pup?
truck and pup.
truck and pup?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
and then this is just,
This would be a belly dump,
okay. And this,
side dump.
I know,
Yep.
okay.
And there's one page in there that's straight, one of our straight trucks, straight. He's good for 18 ton. We've been averaging about 16 ton on him. So we're quite a bit under payload.
Again, that payload is for a commercial grade road. Which 105th East is not built as a commercial grade road, but that's what we're here to talk about. So,
And I probably should have started by saying that, you know, Lance had been telling us that this road was having problems. But our phones have also been lit up by the residents on that road who are very concerned about the state of the road and from the beginning. So, just so you know, we've got competing interests here as well as just our concerns about the road bed.
So I guess just to ask a question, so Ray, you and I talked about this a little bit, but if you propose some routes that you're running trucks one way to go down. Filled and then coming back another way empty. If there's still damage to the road from that, how do we handle that? I mean, we talked a little bit about that, but what would be the stance of Progressive on? Would they be willing to say, hey, we realize this is damaging the road at some point? I mean, whether it's from the state who's funding the recharge pond itself, saying we've got to put some money in to improve. To fix what we're doing to these roads. I think that's really what it's gonna come down to.
Because our concern is, and we've talked about this, you know, before we ever got to the pulling the use permit, what can we do? And what we don't want is more county roads looking like this because we've diverted them away from 105th. Because we're afraid if we divert them away from that, we just, you know, wreck another road and another road and another road as we try to meet the demand. But
Well, I guess what I talked with the contractor yesterday was maybe doing what we just talked, well, one road. One way and come back a different route and then rotate that route, go load it this way and then come back. But. I'm like you, we don't want to destroy more roads or cause more road damage. I think the roads are all repairable. I guess what we're down to is who's gonna repair them.
right, and I guess my suggestion is if this is gonna keep happening, and I think it will, even with the trucks loaded the way they are, that your contractor or you, Progressive, comes back and said, well, we know we're damaging the road. We're gonna rebuild the road after we're done hauling, or through the process of hauling, if we have a safety hazard, that gets addressed as a safety hazard right away. Cause on 105th West, there were some deep cuts. And they were pushing out the dirt and became a safety issue. And that's the reason that we closed the road when we did, is we had a report of somebody pretty much going off the road. Because of the huge dip.
And
So-
sheriff's office confirmed that too. They were the ones that basically said it could be shut down.
So that's why we shut down the road, and until we have a way to address both the safety and the long-term viability of the road network. That's what I'm here to, how do we maintain these roads? How do we keep them as a functioning road long-term?
what do you think of their proposal and what have you thought of that might solve the problem?
Well, just diverting the road and going one way loaded and come back empty on another one spreads that load over two different roads, but I'm still worried about the sheer number of trucks on some of these older roads, that the damage will still be there.
It'll just
And then
take
we
longer
have-
to get there.
It'll take longer to get there, but it'll also still happen, and that road, both roads then will have to be repaired.
We'll give you some gravel. We have some.
Yeah. You know, and I know we've talked about getting gravel and stuff for if we are actually able to do a project on 145th North and using some of that material there too. And that's not necessarily a bad idea, just where we are in now, do we turn 105th East into a gravel road and put a bunch of gravel on it to build it up and make it as a gravel haul road? And then afterwards we come back and have you pave it, repave it? Or what does that look like? And I'm not sure that I have the answer for it, so.
Cooper, do you know if as part of the recharge program, there would be any funds available at a state level to help with part of this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of estimate we're looking at. I think something reasonable, yeah, I think we could consider it, absolutely.
$1 million?
For the 1 mile stretch is what it's gonna cost.
$1 million.
Stretch, we have a 1 mile
For the,
stretch.
for the 1 mile stretch that's been damaged.
That's the really rough estimate, and that's what we were kind of guesstimating on 145th North. If we were to rebuild that road, is at least $1 million a mile.
But that's a completed cost.
That would be a completed cost, yeah, but you excavate down, you get rid of the bad material and you come back, put on good material and repave it.
And I think everybody recognizes that you guys are the guinea pig project in a guinea pig county for these projects. And so, I mean, that's why we're all sitting here looking at each other, is like, what are we gonna do to solve this problem? Because we know more are planned and we're not opposed to the projects in general, but the county cannot afford to subsidize these projects to the tune of what roads cost.
Yeah, I mean, so to be clear, we're looking at $1 million, that's what we're talking about.
On this 1 mile stretch.
Can I interject? So we got miles in Jefferson County too, that's doing the same thing from this project.
Yeah, this is, now we know, this is now going to be one of the, we just know this is a factor of moving this much dirt on county roads especially.
And I think going forward, right, as we've talked, Cooper, there's ways to remedy this, and as part of the permits, we'll put in there, you know, that these things need to be addressed. It's just
Oh, yeah.
this situation that we deal with that's unique, that was the first
Yeah.
one that we're all learning on, so now we're trying to figure out, well, how do we make this work without really, I mean, a state-funded project to put in this recharge pond that's in essence caused this deterioration without making the taxpayers pay for that roadway replacement, you know?
And not just this one, but the next one and the
Yeah,
next
of
one
course.
in Jefferson County.
Absolutely, I mean, in the future, I think it's something we'll build into the project cost proposal. But we gotta deal with what's in front of us right now, so if you could give me some type of estimate. I think.
Are we looking at some shared expenses or is it just looking to say in the road? You could get up and down the road before.
Well, I
You can't
think,
get up and down it now. and
I
you
think
wind
the
up with a
first route is going through Cooper and saying, here's our estimate, and having him push that up to the state level and saying, here's all the data of what this has caused by the project that was funded by the state. What is the state willing to do? Are they willing to give some of this? And then from there, we would have to decide the rest of it, right?
I think
Well-
that's the route I envision too.
So at the rate of 150 loads a day, what are we looking at
And
months down the road? How many months down the road is this gonna take to get that cleaned up?
Now,
Months and months and months.
Months, yeah, a year.
Well, I'm hoping we have the gravel done by the end of. What would be in March, sometime middle of April-ish. But I mean, now we're here we are, so.
And then the rest would be the dirt.
Then the dirt is tentatively going to a different location.
Do you know what?
We're not exactly
Okay.
sure where yet.
Well, then my concern is, we've got this one road that is practically destroyed now. And even if we do get them fixed, well, then, we gotta move on to another road while we get this one fixed. And what road is that going to be so that so we're not just leapfrogging from road to road with similar damage on each road. So that you, I mean, so even if you keep moving, do you see what I'm saying? To keep the pipeline going. It's a logistical problem.
Well, and I will also say, I mean, if you go up 105th east to get to the pit and come back on another one, most likely you are affecting Jefferson County roads more too.
That's how we got our, so between 43 and 44 on 100 north, they were running that empty and it took a couple days and it blew up.
Of course, that being said, it was already blew up anyway.
Well, yeah, but I will add this.
But that, yeah,
I held out Boston State when I was 18 years old, and that those roads have never looked like that as long as, until this project happened.
now,
So I think there's two parts. I think the one part is looking at 105, working with Cooper, saying this is the damage that's already been done. This is how we need to address this with the state level, working through that process. I think part two is we need a plan for where you plan to haul from here on out, both the gravel and the dirt, what roads you plan to use both in Bonneville and Jefferson, that then can be approved by Bonneville County and Jefferson County for hauling. And there may be, I don't know, depending on what estimated damage is, some sort of clause in there that the same thing that's taking place with 105th now, if the damage proves that there would be responsibility either from Progressive or from the state level, however we work that out to bring those roads back up, fix them.
What's the decision on where that stuff has to go? I mean, could it go down 26 to someplace else where 26 is rated for that kind of?
Well, at some point in time, you're probably gonna have to get off
Bill
26.
eventually, yeah, I don't know.
And so where it's getting off Highway 26 onto what? Where are you getting off? And whatever that road is you're getting off on is most likely a county road that, again, isn't built to a commercial grade standard.
We don't have county roads anywhere in the vicinity that are built to the commercial grade standards. that
Not
would
in the
withstand
vicinity,
these.
no.
That was my question.
Yeah, they're all old roads, been there a long time, haven't had any improvement in them.
We've had lay patches on them, we've done chip seals on them, we've done maintenance on them, but we haven't rebuilt most of those roads, and we haven't had to rebuild them. I mean, one of the other areas in there is why we were looking at a rebuild was 145th North was pretty bad a couple of years ago, and so we put a lot of lay patch on it.
So that $1 million estimate, that's to go in and basically redo the road to a commercial grade and that.
No, the $1 million a mile would be to get it back to a 2-lane road, maybe a touch wider, and then it'll handle more trucks, but it's not still probably a commercial grade road.
And what are you looking at time to do that?
Good question. I don't know that I have a ballpark figure for that.
Months probably, right?
When would you want to do it? Would you want to do it after the haul is completed?
Well,
Could you just damage it again?
Yeah, just continue to use 105 until then.
Well, and that's what I was talking about is you put 105th to a gravel road and you put enough material on it to make it a gravel haul road. And you treat it as a gravel haul road until you're done, and then you come back and redo it as a paved county road.
And the same thing in Jefferson County, probably.
You have the material.
Well, if we can get the plan here for Progressive Irrigation District, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but where that pile of dirt is, that's phase 2 for a recharge project. So we're gonna have a lot more fill and a lot more overburden and more gravel. So we've got the gravel. Even after this is gone, because where that is, that's about 20 acres and that's in phase 2. Progressive bought that with the intention of making a bigger basin there.
Mhm.
So we've got the gravel and I don't think anybody's object to helping furnish the gravel. It's just how do we get there and how soon can we get there?
Yeah.
I mean, how, we don't wanna wait a year. Well, we can't do anything with phase two till this pile's gone. And yet you're looking at 105 going, it needs some help, as you're saying. So how do we help and how do we get the trucks rolling again to get that pile gone and then come back with phase two? And maybe put a road rebuild in the budget with resources saying, okay, this is what we did, this is what we're going to do.
The other,
It's a big project.
and the other problem with repairing the road is that Road and Bridge always runs up against limitations as far as getting contracts out and finding enough people in this area who can rebuild the road. Is that correct?
Well, it becomes a cost issue. I mean, you can probably always find a contractor to do it
If you
if they
can.
are willing to pay them enough, so.
So what's Progressive? You have that other pit to the west of where this recharge site is, right? It's right off the highway. That you.
Yeah, that little gravel pit there along the state
What do you
highway.
use that for?
We don't.
It's really small.
We was going to do recharge.
I know that was
with
the
it.
original, I'm just wondering, and I don't know, it may not take a lot of it, but is there some that you could bring some of the material just down the highway right to there and put it in that pit? At least the dirt, once you get to that point, but I don't know how much it would take.
That pit's probably only an acre in size.
So you don't think it would take very much?
It's not very deep. It's not
It's
very,
just a thought. I didn't know if that
Yeah.
could maybe help.
because we went to the same thing, fill it up and then you've got something, but the cost to fill it.
Yeah.
Right now, we're selling the product, as you know, to move it, so that's helping recoup the cost to get it gone, so we can do phase two. So I guess we're here, how do we get this pile gone so we can do this? And then I guess decide who's going to help redo 105. Cost share or all of it, or
Well, again, I think if you're looking for probably a fastest type of solution, you put 2 feet of gravel that you're hauling off on 105th and make 105th a gravel haul road. And then once you're done with that, you strip that all off, you take off all the asphalt and you rebuild 105th. That would, I mean, you're hauling material off-site onto this road to create a gravel haul road.
And is the gravel haul road safe enough for the residents along that street?
Most likely, you're gonna have to reduce the speed limit, but there's residents that live on gravel roads all over the place in the county.
you have to take the asphalt off or just pile
Yeah,
it at the
that's what I
top?
wondered.
If you're talking about 2 feet of gravel, it's probably just pile it over the top.
But then that would have to come back and come off
Yeah.
to do a rebuild.
Yeah,
Cause you wanna excavate down and get rid of the. clay.
material underneath it, yeah. I mean,
Right,
to me, that's kind of you get rid of the material out of the pit area. You put it on the road, you create a gravel haul road with it. And then that gives you some time to both get the material gone, put it somewhere, but it's not gonna be in the pit to resell. It's gonna be put on the road to create a haul road.
And then you got the additional cost to come in and pick that back up.
Yes,
The
you do.
2 feet that you're putting on.
Yes, you do.
And then you go down into the road from there down.
I mean, timeframes, short term, that seems like kind of a fast way to get some of the material gone and keep going with it
Yeah.
to get it out of the area, but it's not a simple process and it's not a efficient process.
Correct.
So,
but you throw enough money at it. Maybe you can have a commercial grade by July,
no,
no? How long?
I think,
I mean, let's say that all this money that the state has for these recharge sites, so let's say there's no limit, how much does it cost to get a commercial grade so they can run it? if they were writing a blank check?
Boy,
A lot.
a lot. I don't know that I can tell you an exact answer, but yeah, if you're willing to throw $2 million or something at it, I'm sure that you could probably figure out a way to get it done. I just don't know if anybody's willing to throw $2 million at it, so,
Well, you're back on the time thing.
yeah.
If the state's willing to help, the state, because they don't want problems with any of this recharge. They want this to work in this area.
Yeah.
And so they've been more than good to help in any way they can, so you could probably come up with the money. How quick can you do the road? You know, or what's the best way to
Would
do
have to,
that?
would have to bid it out. And bidding it out is, I mean, takes 3 weeks to bid. So,
Tumor construction.
well, we don't have any engineering drawings for it. So it's kind of a design build project that we haven't typically done those a lot of, but
But then then you're back to your timeline deal.
yeah,
Time you get it engineered and done, funded, and who's gonna do it, where are you going with it?
yeah.
You're a long ways off.
Yeah, a year.
Yeah, you're a year off and we've got.
I think we could probably do
away.
it faster than that. Because again, when you're ripping off the asphalt, you're going down 3 foot, you're putting in clean material. Maybe you use some fabric in areas that you run into soft spot and clay, and you rebuild it and repave it. So it's not a complicated design to come up with, but it's not something you can do tomorrow either.
But then how long does a design like that work if they're running these trucks up there?
Well,
If we fix it and then they start running the trucks again, how long does that design last? Not very long,
that's just, I think,
Pressure.
right?
yeah.
You're putting a lot of pressure.
I think if we have it 18 inches of pit run with some fabric underneath it, with some 3/4 and 4 inches of asphalt on top of it, make it a good 28 to 30 foot wide. I think that type of road would stand up to these loads for quite a long while. But that is, I mean, that's essentially what we're doing on arterial roads for a quote, commercial grade road. It's just, we usually end up with a little bit wider and able to have a painted shoulder and stuff. And I don't know that you want it too much wider than it already is out there, but we have prescriptive right of way to do it.
I want to point out, I'm pretty sure Cooper doesn't have a blank checkbook
Yeah.
with him today.
That's right, so I mean.
And neither does Bonneville County is
Right,
the whole
right.
problem.
I guess,
Yeah.
I hear a lot of this rushing around, is the issue here moving the mountain as quickly as possible, or are we good to just take a deep breath and figure out the best way forward? I don't wanna promise a blank check. I do wanna, work in much closer coordination, but do we need to rush this, or can we?
I think Progressive is in a hurry, it sounds like to me, to get it moved,
Well, and it
but I'm not
affects-
sure.
It affects Bateman too, right? Because the drivers have already been hired to do the
Right.
work, if I
So that's our
remember
issue.
correctly, that we came into that last time, so,
That's our issue, so we have drivers contracted longer.
yeah.
We draw it out.
What happens if we can come up with some kind of agreement, but we have to have water resources in it, and Progressive, the county, some kind of an agreement where we can keep running, knowing to go in there and just, as the spot goes bad, they dump a load of gravel in it, we keep going, to go in there and rebuild that road and then start running loaded trucks up and down it again. We're over a year away. So,
I think you could, if you did what I was talking about, putting 2 foot of gravel on top of it, I think you're short.
but is there any advantage to put the 2 feet of gravel on the top of it and then go in and scoop it up? I mean, you're gonna scoop the whole road up anyway.
Well, you are, and that's why I said it's not very efficient, but it's time savings. So how much is that time worth to you?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to come back and try to rebuild the road, why are we gonna put 2 feet of gravel over the top now? Why not just keep running?
Well, it's
Because it
not
turns
safe.
into a safe,
Yeah,
safety.
it's not
Safety
safe.
issue at that point.
And
If
just
they-
dumping a load of
Local
gravel
residents.
into a dip is not, it's
Well-
not gonna make it safe to travel.
Not just local residents. When I saw the pictures of those roads, I was surprised that truck drivers had not brought this to someone's attention because, you know, I mean, I'm not a truck driver. I don't know about roads. But it was shocking to me that nobody had caught this problem soon enough to prevent the damage that had been done. So I mean, we are really worried about somebody getting hurt, not just, you know, the teenager 16 years
Right.
old coming home at 11:30 at night, trying to keep his curfew, but the truck drivers as well.
When will you pull the frost law, Lance?
It'll probably be after the 1st of April before we pull the frost off.
I guess I'm wondering. How good our plan would be to start running a different road one way and back another way for a couple of weeks to see what happens till we get something figured out on 105 or. So we don't wanna go out, we don't wanna go destroy other roads. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not out to do that. We're out to build a recharge basin and hopefully another one, and that's our goal. But we also understand that we've got some issues.
None of those roads out there are built to handle the amount of trucks and what's gonna be in them, even if they're lightly loaded. None of them are built to handle what you're gonna be hauling.
Is your phase 2 gravel gonna go to the same spot, or you gonna be needing
I would
a
think,
different route to?
I would think that it will, just. We don't know till we get the project and then they sell that, put that out for bid. But I don't think anybody's has a problem with some of that being used to rebuild 105 in phase 2.
We have funding from the Water Resource Board for our recharge basin, the South Fork Recharge Basin. And we don't yet have funding for phase 2. We would expect to get that funding. But we don't have funding for that yet.
So I guess the question would be, Lance, if we left 105 closed. And we came up with a plan for them to haul one way and another way, is there a way that? We could set something in there to say, hey, we're gonna check the status of the road on a weekly basis, and if we start to notice any damage, we'll have to come up with another plan. I mean, I don't know that it's anything long-term, but.
I think within 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, you'll start to
see
see
damage.
damage. You will. And so again, you're moving, you know, we're damaging this road, so now you're gonna go to another road and see whether it's gonna be 2 or 3 weeks before you notice damage on that one. And then you're hauling on this one and I mean, now we're talking about 3 different roads
Right.
that you're waiting for damage on versus we know we have damage on one.
Is the damage worse now because of the time of year? In other words, if we waited till June or July, would that help matters on the roads, on the damage to the roads or not?
It could slow down the extent of the damage, but the damage is still gonna happen. And the damage was still happening all the way through the winter
So it's more apparent now because it's winter time.
because it's thawing out and because the frost is coming out. And so it is definitely quicker realized during this time of year, but the damage, I've been telling you, the damage has been done all the way through December and January and February, so.
Well, it seems to me that the thing to do is just continue using 105th with making it a gravel haul road.
Well,
Fix it when it's done.
and with the condition that there's an agreement to pay for a new road when we're done. Because
That way you guys are able to get your stuff done and. But yeah, we need some kind of agreement from the state or somebody else that it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think we'd be willing to consider it. The blank check makes me nervous.
Right.
Well, and the cost share makes us nervous, because we're not the one who got the money to build a recharge site. We're not gonna benefit from it. I mean, except as all citizens in southeast Idaho do. But to cost share something that Progressive and Bateman are getting paid to do is kind of unfairly sharing the burden on, putting some of the burden on the taxpayers.
Well, and I think part of the phase two also the state will have, right? There's gonna be all kinds of gravel that needs to come out of phase two that they can use as that road base, which will already help to. For them to benefit the cost of that road as to what they might have to put into it, you know, too, so.
Let me ask you this, because I'm gonna jump ahead again. What kind of road is 55th East?
55th East is much like 105th East, and if this type of haul happens on 55th East, it'll do the same thing.
From the 26 north where they've rebuilt that road and it's widened out like that, it won't handle this traffic?
It won't handle this type of traffic.
It was nice road as it is in the rebuild that was on it.
It won't handle this type of traffic.
How much could it handle? Like, if we run a limited number of trucks while we figure this out, or
On 55th East,
No, just
anywhere.
meaning out here.
I don't know how I come up with that answer. I mean, if you have 2 trucks a day for 30 years, you probably wouldn't see a problem. But if you have 2 trucks a day that are running on the shoulder, you're gonna start to see problem even at 2 trucks a day. Well, I don't have a magic number that says, well, you only run 5 trucks and you're good. I don't know how to tell you that.
So do you feel like from Progressive standpoint, it would be doable to go into 105th and put the gravel on top of it? Just for the temporary, putting it there and then,
We don't own a crusher. You're talking about just putting down pit run to,
Well, you'd have to put down the pit run and then you'd have to have some sort of surface on top of it to get the driveways in there too. There's not a whole lot of driveways, but you're still gonna be able to have to get those residents in and out of their driveways onto this road too, and provide I mean, for the trucks to haul on, they can haul on a pit run road without a tremendous amount of challenge. But to have all the residents there drive on a pit run road is less than ideal.
I guess my thinking here is if we reach out a little bit further, as you know, Progressive Irrigation would like to develop another recharge site on 55th East. So we're looking at moving the same amount of material there. That's why I'm wondering is if this material can be moved to this same location. If we come down 55th, hit 26, go up to 105, now we're gonna run down a gravel road, leave it gravel road for a couple of years, don't rebuild it. I mean, your residents are gonna have a fit, but in this funding, if we can get the funding from Water Resources Board again, we're back to Cooper's checkbook again. But I'm looking at going, if we're gonna rebuild 105, how much material can we run down 105 before we redo it? So to speak, if we're gonna go down here and do phase, another project this size. And if material goes the same way, then let's not rebuild the road, let's run a gravel road in the trucks and stay on this road, so to speak. But we don't know, because then you gotta go back, the material's gotta be sold, who's gonna get the bid to have the material? That's why I'm asking about 55th, because can we get from 55th down to 26? Will it take the same kind of traffic? And
I
you're
don't think
saying
it
no.
will. No.
It would take more of it than what 105 did.
It will
but-
probably take a little bit more, but it is going to be damaged. It is going to be in the same boat. Whether it's in 1 week or 2 weeks or 2 months, I can't tell you.
Some of that depends on the time of year.
Right,
It's dry, if the road base is dry, if the road's dried out, the soldiers are dried out, that kind of, then it's gonna handle more pressure.
it is.
But if you're on that, this is a really fragile time of year because the frost is pulling. those roads will start to pump, and if you're putting that excess amount of traffic on them, then that's why you're destroying it right now.
Does Bateman have anywhere else that you could haul this other than just that one location?
Not that's feasible.
That's great, I just want to know that.
How much of your pit up in Jefferson County is getting filled up with the material so far?
So
About 300,000 tons.
third of it probably.
I think you have room in the pit for the entire pile, right?
We probably got room as far as pit run for the entire project. For phase 2 also.
For the gravel out of phase 2 and not the overburden.
No, the overburn, this got to go somewhere else. But there's enough room in the pit to accept all pit run.
From South Fork, phase 1, phase 2 of South
Yes.
Fork.
Well, I think one of the things we're seeing here is the consequences of not getting county roads involved from the very beginning of this project. Because I think Lance could have told us pretty easily that we needed to know what the route was gonna be and how we were gonna do it, but if I understand correctly, we weren't brought into that at that point.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a learning process for all of us as to who was handling all this. Was it the state? Was it the county? Cooper and I talked a lot about process, and I think the state put the money out there and these projects were really pushed in the beginning, and they were really kind of started without the needful conversations as we're finding out, so.
And to be clear, we're not gonna fund any projects without county approval. Prior to, cause we look at the hydrology, but we've come to understand that county approval is just as important as the hydrology. So, yeah, sure, you can get water there and it'll deliver water to the aquifer in a way that beneficially impacts the river. So you look at that, but then without county approval, it doesn't matter.
And I really, really appreciate you saying that, because that's been a question for us all along, because there has been the position that they don't need county approval, they just need your approval. And if your approval requires county approval, then that makes that position a lot.
We're not gonna consider anything without county.
So I guess one of the things is, this is just kind of the cost of being the
It's
guinea
just a
pig.
guinea pig. I don't think,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody realized what was gonna happen with the mound. I don't think we anticipated. We just didn't anticipate. So,
And that's probably just a consequence of not having enough stakeholders at the table when the project went forward. But we do want a solution. And I think, have you guys heard enough to at least be talking about some of these solutions? Austin.
I think
Ray,
we
Wayne?
talk about them, but again, I don't. Unless there's a different solution that we just have discussed here today, it's like we either rebuild the road now in order to haul on it. And whatever time frame that takes, or you make it into a gravel haul road. And figure out a way to get the residents in and out of their homes in addition to hauling over a gravel road.
I
Those
guess-
are the two that immediately come to mind, so.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not sure there's much more we can say here, but it seems like everybody has to kind of go back, look at their resources, think about what's been said here, and then get together for some solutions, and then come back here with what everybody can kind of swallow as far as time limits and financial constraints and, road possibilities and all of that. I mean, because we have thrown a lot out here. If we let it percolate a little bit and go back and look at some costs and some timeframes that are, something people can live with, then maybe we can come together again. Because I do want to make it clear too, that, we don't wanna stop these projects. But we also don't want to be the one ending up paying large amounts of money when somebody else is getting a check from the state. So we don't want those monies pocketed by the irrigation districts while we have to take it out of the pocket of the taxpayers. So I think we all see the problem going forward, and I think going forward, we can probably address it. At least in a way that we can all kind of say, this is how much we think it's gonna cost, and here's what we're gonna need. But I don't know, do you have anything else? Lance Schuster?
Well, I'll just say that, to be clear, Progressive Irrigation District doesn't get a big paycheck for doing these projects. It gives us additional capability to do recharge. Which is beneficial, like you say, to everybody in eastern Idaho. Especially groundwater users that have, responsibilities now to do more recharge. So, it does benefit everybody to do these recharge projects. But we're not banking a bunch of money from the state of Idaho to do these recharge projects. We're cooperating with the state, working with the state. We feel like we're a stakeholder in the whole effort to do groundwater recharge in eastern Idaho. So, but certainly recognize that there ought to be funding to pay for the entire cost of a project, not just for digging a hole in the ground. So.
I would agree with that. I think, everybody's a stakeholder, taking care of this problem.
You turn on the kitchen sink, you're a stakeholder.
Certain, yeah, so, but yeah, we just need to have a solution on how to do it without even one person or one group stuck with the aftermath.
We're down to where does the money come from?
Yeah.
It always gets in the way. Money always gets in the way.
And ultimately, that's taxpayers too.
That's
They're
taxpayers.
spread out over the state versus individual county.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think we'll talk and come up with some ideas and some thoughts and get back together.
Yeah, it sounds like Ray and Austin have been talking, and now we kind of have a better idea with Lance, what the possibilities might be anyway. Whether anybody likes them or finds them palatable or not is a different story, but at least we've got the guy who's gonna have to deal with it at the table.
Bateman's have any, where we leave there, where we're all together, humors?
Yeah, we'd sure like, if you've got the solution, we're
Well, my only comment is if to make a speed project up where they could keep going. What if we basically kept going, started? And as we had blowouts, fill them.
Bateman fill them? You mean, is that what you're saying? Have
Yeah,
Bateman
I
come and take the
Don't
money
know if
out?
we'd have a problem taking a bucket of gravel down there and dumping it in the hole once in a while.
Well, it's not just,
I mean, you're not
Feeling it,
gonna accomplish
I mean-
any more there than you would turning it to gravel, I don't think. Cause as the weather dries, the blowouts are gonna decrease.
alligatoring of the asphalt will continue. Because you're putting too many loads. Even if light loads, you're putting too many loads on that road. And so the alligatoring will continue. You'll end up with it just progressing through the mile section. And it'll just keep happening, and you end up over a longer term with that as a gravel road anyway.
But we really appreciate you saying that you're willing to address the problem yourself.
Well, maybe are you saying that if, to continue, if we come figure out who's gonna repair the road long term, but instead of putting 2 feet of gravel on it, why not just patch the holes? And then come back and rebuild the road? Is that what
Exactly.
Lance is saying now? the asphalt.
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
gonna
lose it
agree,
anyway.
it's gonna alligator, it's
Yeah.
gonna keep
Yeah.
blowing out.
And not as you're not saying that as an end result.
Oh,
patch
no,
them
no,
on, then
absolutely
we're all go
not.
home.
No, no, this is just a, maybe, okay, we can do this, keep going, monitor it daily. If we need a bucket of gravel somewhere, put it in the darn thing and try to keep it as absolutely safe as possible. But try to keep the project moving. That's.
Is the road safer, leaving it where it is and patching the spots as they give way? Or is it safer to go in and put 2 feet of gravel on the top? Cause
I think it'd be safer to put 2 feet of gravel on top of it and have a gravel haul road. It's not necessarily better for the residents, but I think it's safer for everybody that now they know what it is, what you're gonna be driving across. And I
I know, that's
there's
why
no
I'm
magic
asking,
answer,
that's why.
so. I don't think that if you keep chasing the alligator spots as it blows out and you put a load of gravel in it, that you'll just have spots all over the section of the road. And then you're having people try to dodge through them in order to get from one area to another. And so it's the residents who live along there that are really gonna be impacted for the long term. But that's my perspective.
Well, we want your input, you're the engineer.
We appreciate that from you guys. Okay, thank you everyone for
Well,
being
I
here.
just wanna say thanks
Oh.
for, if you don't mind.
Go ahead,
Excuse me,
yeah,
sorry.
no, that's fine.
I just wanna say thanks for letting me be here. We look forward to closer coordination in the future. You know, but sorry, it's like this. Don't want this in the future. So, you know, these are large scale infrastructure projects. They're gonna create change in the community, even for a couple of years. This is a whole. But I think ultimately they will benefit the community long run. And we look forward to closer coordination in the future. Are you with Jefferson County?
I am.
Okay, let's get in touch. We don't want to leave Jefferson County out of it. Just would say thanks. Closer coordination.
And we'll still get you over, I'll send Lance your information so we can still get you over somewhat of an estimate so
Yeah.
that you can at least start talking to the state even.
Yeah, that's
Even
right.
pre-phase 2 or whatever happens.
Oh, I
with
think all
Progressive, so,
projects.
Yeah,
And we appreciate all of you guys being here, Bateman Brothers and the Irrigation District. I think we can find a solution. Just need to, we're all probably gonna have to take a little heartburn.
You know, but I think ultimately it definitely benefits the.
Yeah.
We can continue to have the economy that we have. I think the tax base will be better for it. The community will be better with what we're cycling through. Because otherwise, it's not a happy situation.
Well, I have within my memory, dad's getting shot over ditches, so,
Well, now it's going to groundwater.
yeah. Yeah. Okay,
okay, be in
Thanks,
touch with
everybody.
us, let us know when you talk and.
we're gonna have that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick around for more minutes.
You could, if you want.
Thanks, Ray, appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
No,
No, I.
I know I've seen this. Can we take up, let's take up Lance's first, then he can get out of here. I think his is number 5. Look at his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we take that one up first and then? Let's get back to billing plans.
That is where I make money. I don't make money working for Progressive Irrigation.
Okay, so this one was submitted by Blake Ford and many others. There's a bunch of signatures there. Their suggested changes were to change all the intersections to four-way stop flashing stop signs and reduce the speed on all the intersections from 65th north to 145th north on 15th east. And due to some of the crash data on 65th north and 81st north, the committee's recommendation was to do a four-way stop arm analysis on those two intersections. And then on the remaining intersections going north, they recommended to put the cross traffic does not stop on the below the stop signs.
What was a four-way stop warrant analysis? I mean, just analyzing whether it
Yeah.
warrants
Right, whether it warrants that or not. It looks at the crash data, volumes of traffic coming in each direction. There's probably.
So in the manual on uniform traffic control devices, the MUTCD, it outlines certain criteria that in order to go to a four-way stop, it has to meet. And there's a number of different criteria, some of which are crash data, some of which are traffic volumes above a certain threshold. So if they're not above a certain threshold, then you would not go to a four-way stop. A four-way stop is typically a predecessor to something else like a traffic signal. And so that's many times, if you're looking at these things and that it meets the volumes, that within a few years afterwards, you might want to do a signal warrant analysis and see whether or not there's enough delay at that intersection to go to a signalized intersection versus a four-way stop.
So maybe you can tell us something. This is the first time we've had a meeting on this. So those standards that you have, tell me why you refer to those instead of just doing what people ask you to.
So the MUTCD is a national guideline recommended by the Office of Federal Safety or Highway Safety about the state of Idaho, ITD district, all the districts within the state of Idaho, all the highway districts. They're all trying to follow these national standards so that if you drive on a road in Bonneville County versus a road in Massachusetts versus a road in Texas, you can expect the same sorts of treatment based on these standards.
And that alone creates better safety.
It lends towards better safety. That's why they have these standards. They found certain things do better than other things. And that's why they create the manual, but there's also, when we deal with safety projects, there's a clearinghouse. It's called a clearinghouse for different safety options. And if I apply for a safety project, like going to a signalized intersection, I'll go in that clearinghouse and look for, if you do this, this will reduce the crashes by this much. And if you do this, it'll reduce the crash by this much.
So I thought when we had our discussion with Lance before, the solution was flashing stop signs, flashing stop ahead signs on the cross traffic, but nothing.
That's what I proposed, is that
That's
we
what
put
we
in
had.
flashing stop signs, but I'm not sure how that plays into this analysis.
That's
So the idea of the flashing stop sign versus the normal stop sign doesn't play that much of a difference, except as cost. The cost of the flashing stop sign is $1,200 to $1,300. The cost of a normal stop sign is about $100. And so for an intersection where you have 8 signs, it can be $10,000 for an intersection with flashing LEDs that you still have to maintain, and you don't get the ability to, if something happens with that flashing LED, you have to replace it with a flashing LED. You can't just put in a regular stop sign anymore.
These intersections just have 2 stop signs.
But
Yeah.
you were asking for four-way. or at
No,
least
I wasn't
one.
asking for four-way stops. Some of my neighbors were.
And I think that's the request that was taken was
Right.
for four-way.
My request was just to put in flashing stop signs, replace the existing two stop signs with flashing stop signs, so
But
that.
but I guess what I'm wondering is if these national standards, they may say that four regular say stop signs are safer than two flashing ones. Do you see what I'm saying? Making that a four-way stop rather than just remain two with flashing, maybe one of those is safer than the other. I don't know.
Well, and again, it goes back to the amount of volumes in the cross traffic and how that happens, but. There has been shown. In my research and my looking through it, mixed results with the flashing versus the non-flashing. If the non-flashing is in good condition and it meets the retroreflectivity standards, then it's a decision more than anything else, whether it's a flashing or whether it's a normal reflective stop sign, whether people are gonna run that stop sign or not. I've seen for the first couple of years, the flashing stop signs seem to show a decrease in the amount of people running it. I don't think that's the case anymore, and I've seen other studies since the fact that the flashing LED signs may bring more attention to it, but it hasn't increased compliance with stopping.
So these recommendations here, I want to be clear on what they are. The first recommendation is we're going to do a study to see if you need a four-way stop rather than a two-way stop, right?
Right, at those first two intersections, 65th North and 81st North.
And then, so we've got 65th and then 81st and then 145th. Is that
Well,
right?
the rest of the intersections in between there, and you have a number of others, you have 81st, 97th, 113th, 129th, and then 145th, so.
Okay. So you got 6 intersections there.
113th, there's flashing stop signs there.
There's been a couple that we've had flashing stop signs on, but I'm just naming the intersections that go north.
Anyway, they suggested to do some other treatments to those other ones going north. Possibly painting the fog line, installing intersection ahead signs and installing reflective tape on the vertical post. Got good feedback from another intersection. We did that too.
When have most of the accidents been, daytime or nighttime?
No, they didn't give you a time, they just give you a count. And whether it was a fatality, serious injury.
So I would think that would matter too.
This last one on 81st and 15th, it was at 5:30, it was daylight.
Yeah,
The person who ran that stop sign was from Tetonia, they weren't local. Obviously, if you're more familiar with the area, you learn where stop signs are. I do sometimes see larger stop signs than others. It seems like they come in different sizes.
They do come in different sizes and it's based on the speed limit. But the minimum that we have is 36 by 36. There have been a couple areas that we have installed larger stop signs. And those also don't necessarily increase compliance.
So what's Lance's takeaway here today? Do we have to adopt some of these recommendations or do you guys do them? How does this normally work? This is,
We bring the recommendations to you and you decide which if any of the.
so we're supposed
recommendations
to,
you want to follow, so.
so we're supposed to decide on each of these today?
Or we can split it up between another meeting if you'd like.
Just, this is the first time we've
Yeah.
had to address these, and Carl and I are fresh.
Well, I four-way stop analysis makes sense to me.
Yeah,
For, understanding how much traffic's going through there and whether a four-way stop may benefit.
As part of that warrant analysis and doing the traffic counts, you will also see that it are the two-way stops where they are now. Is that the appropriate place to put them, or would you shift them to stop the other direction traffic based on volumes? And so that is also data that you would find and see. My inkling, my gut feel is that they're stopping that east-west traffic because there's a heavier movement north-south. And that's why it is what it is. And that's many areas of the county is we're stopping the east-west traffic because that's the minor movement, and the north-south traffic is the heavier.
Well, the heavier movement's definitely on St. Leon,
Yeah.
the north-south. I will say, just an observation that down on 49th Iona Road, that new stop sign that's gone in there, that's become a four-way stop. At 5 o'clock, that'll be backed up. Everybody's heading north. That'll be backed up all the way back to Highway 26.
right.
Yeah, we did a stop warrant analysis on that before we brought it to the commissioners to actually recommend. And that particular intersection, we had another call just this morning, and saying that we need to take that four-way stop out. Because he's looked at it a couple different days, but we did the stop warrant analysis, and it did meet the analysis for a four-way stop. But the next thing that you would do is probably a traffic signal.
Yeah, in my opinion, there needs to be traffic signal there, but
And then the traffic signal costs how much?
Are you going through an LTAC project, or are you gonna do it yourself? So I will tell you that the LTAC project that we've got for a safety down on Holmes and 49 South will probably end up being close to $2.5 million for a signalized intersection.
And aren't we doing one right at 25th and Telford right now?
25th, the ITD is getting ready to do that as part of the Highway 26, 25th East. And we're doing a span wire signal, or getting ready to do north of there, but the span wire signal doesn't have near as much of the infrastructure as a normal signal. And so I don't have the last estimate on that, but I think it was about 1.4 million.
This is the growth that the state wants to keep coming here and keep taking our money away for. That's what we heard at our conference.
Yeah.
$250 million tax cut so that we can get growth coming, and then we're left with this and less money. If the legislature's looking at cutting the amount we get for road maintenance with legislation right now. So, yeah,
So with this recommendation, then nothing changes, right?
Nothing changes today, but what we would do is contract for the stop warrant analysis to be done and bring that result back to you.
What are we looking at time for that?
Usually if they have to trade the traffic counts, it's usually close to a month.
but what about the cross traffic does not stop sign and the fog line and the reflective tape and all that?
The cross traffic does not stop. It's just a small sign that we bolt up. The reflective tape, those can be done fairly quickly.
there's already cross traffic doesn't stop signs on 81st.
On some of them there are, and some of them there might not be, so. And that's where that red reflective tape is an additional sort of visual eye catcher. Cause at night, it will shine back at you pretty good.
And the fog line, describe to me what that does and.
Well, they were saying that it tends to slow people down, I guess, get their attention and slow them down a little bit.
Do you know, Carl? I mean, that just seems
I'm
like,
thinking psychologically, maybe it's showing you're coming in.
In narrower lanes.
Yeah.
In narrower lanes, it tends to slow people down. We did that on 25th East north of Highway 26. We striped the lanes at 11 foot wide to try to encourage people to slow down a little bit, and I think it brought the 85th percentile after we did that down 2 or 3 miles an hour. So it helped a little bit, but it's not gonna slow the traffic from 55 to 35. It won't do that.
One last question and then I'll excuse myself, but. Does this four-way stop analysis also look at traffic speeds? Cause that's a 50 mile, St. Leon's 50 miles an hour.
Most of the time, the traffic, the four-way stop analysis does not look at speed. That would be a different speed counter, a different study that we would do to look at the speed limit. Now, I will tell you, and this is the speed studies that we do are based off these national standards again, and it's based on trying to get compliance with 85% of the people are traveling at this speed or lower. And so if 85% of the people are traveling at 52 miles an hour, the thing says I should post it at 50. If they're 85% of the people are traveling at 55, I should be posting it at the 55. Because that's where 85% of the people are comfortable in traveling.
Even though the speed limit's 50.
And that's where the standard for the county is, it's 50 mile an hour unless otherwise posted. But that doesn't mean that they can't go 55, and they do, but it means that I'm not going to post it probably more than 50 on these rural residential roads. But if that speed study shows that they're traveling 53 or 54 miles an hour, I'm not gonna post it at 40.
Cause it's not going, you're not gonna get compliance.
You're not gonna get compliance, and then it becomes an enforcement issue for the sheriff's office to try to do that enforcement, and that's a no-win situation.
And if you got 40 and people think you're ridiculous for that, then there's just no speed limit.
Well, and that's on 25th East. The commissioners decided to change that from 49th North all the way up to the highway to 40 miles an hour. And that was not based on a speed study. That was based on recommendations and a bunch of different complaints. And I will tell you that I have driven that section many times in the intervening months. And if I start at Highway 26 or even 49th North and go north at 40 miles an hour, by the time I leave 49th North to the time I get to the highway, I have a line of cars behind me. And I didn't start with anybody behind me
And then you
because I'm
create,
the only one going 40.
then you create a traffic hazard because somebody's gonna jet off in the other lane and run into somebody else or.
Yeah.
So what about the road south of town, like down Sunnyside at 49th to 65th? Those are all 40 mile an hour. And nobody drives 40.
Nobody drives 40, and that's an enforcement type of issue. Some of those were made by the city of
That's what I'm saying.
Hammond. Some of those were decisions based not on a speed study, but based on complaints from residents.
Do you wanna, I mean, you can tell a lot of this is educational for us.
Yeah, no,
Or do you
we're all
wanna-
learning. I think I'm gonna take off, but maybe, I'd love to come back when you have that four-way analysis completed and hear what the results are.
Keep watching the agenda because it will be back on the agenda as an action item. So deal with it.
Can you go somewhere on the internet and get the agenda? I've been wondering about that. Where do you go, Ashley?
Bonneville County, Idaho.gov, and then you go to the commissioner section, and then there's a commissioner.
Commissioner agenda.
Yeah, I found the agenda.
Okay. Cause you don't want the emails coming every day with agendas.
Probably.
That's
He
like
does.
putting.
He
the-
does. He told us.
That's like putting the.
He
40
doesn't get enough emails, so.
So you just don't read any of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Look forward to working through the progressive irrigation issues too. I'm sure we can find some answers. So, all right.
Thanks.
Thanks,
man.
Mike.
thanks.
Like that.
So I have a question on these things here. When we had that last meeting, I think one of you guys said that you could find that complaint or notification of unsafe conditions form on the
The
website.
traffic change request
Yeah.
form.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where?
Yeah, I couldn't
I
find
looked and I
it
couldn't
either.
find
it's under road bridge.
Bridge,
I looked
Yeah, I
everywhere.
couldn't-
Public Works, more forms.
Yeah,
I
I could
couldn't-
not find it
I
anywhere. So
looked too and I
to
never
me,
found it.
Pull up the website.
Some of our website pages aren't super user friendly.
yeah,
I
so
talked to Brian Powell about that
Okay.
because he's building one for me and I said, so why can't I on my page, just like the homepage, have a block that has like commonly requested documents right at the
Yeah.
top? And he's like, we can probably do that. So
yeah,
I've given up with trying to make those web pages better. I have tried for years
That was good.
to get them better,
yeah.
but,
So if that block works, I
okay.
might suggest to him that we do the same thing with some road and bridge.
Yeah, but I
forms,
think the other
If you
thing
want
that-
me to.
yeah, the other thing that Brian said was that we are not owners of that domain, that it's actually goes to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be
So
changed,
here's
so
what I'm at.
So
maybe that'll. maybe
let
that'll
me,
be nice.
let you go up on the
Thanks.
screen. So go up and go to directory,
Yeah, this shows up different.
Public Works.
Well, that's what I wondered is, that's what I thought is it might be the phone thing.
Because there's a.
go to
Over here.
road and bridge.
Documents or something on the side.
It's under
Go,
road and bridge at the top.
I think, yeah, road and bridge.
Public Works, forms and fees. I think.
Scroll down just a little bit.
I think it's under Public Works,
Is it
forms
Public
and
Works?
fees.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
Public Works forms and fees.
And then more, it's under more documents.
Traffic control request form, yeah.
And I don't think you can get there on a phone.
Yeah, it's not showing up.
So I talked to Brian about that last week too, because you can't get to. Some people can't get to the employee access on the phone without his too, so he was supposed to be making some changes to that, but.
Well, you make me feel a little less stupid, Carl, because when Lance told me, it's like, it's gotta be here somewhere.
Yeah,
He
that's-
said it was,
I looked too.
but I was probably only looking at my phone.
And if you were on your phone, well, yeah, I tend to go to the
Yeah, and
computer
I
screen.
did it on the computer and I couldn't find it, but
So
But
did you see
even
where we
showing-
I
found it?
see now, yeah.
Even showing it, you had to dig pretty deep to find it.
Yeah, it's not something that's readily apparent. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, go here.
Yeah, like you said, commonly used forms. So
Yeah, there
does-
needs to be some change to that.
Yeah.
That's what I
Or-
told
I don't
Brian when
think
he's doing our site, I'm like,
Blocks are the ones that are most.
you
used,
gotta
so you can
understand,
see
when I
it.
tell people go apply for a permit online, majority of them are. Computer illiterate,
Yeah.
and they're like, I just wanna be able to go in and click one button and have it take me there. I'm like,
And
we
that-
need
And
to
if they
design
can't-
this so that a person who's never been here before can figure it out.
And if they
I-
can't, then they call your office and they walk
Yeah,
them through it.
And it's like, well, we just as well do the applications the old way, cause we're still doing it anyway.
What do you guys want us to do on this today?
On 5, I would say,
Tell you to
give
do
us
the
the direction
four-way
to,
printed out
Yeah.
traffic analysis, I think, don't you?
I guess, yeah, I just, like I said, that was different from what I thought was discussed at that meeting, so.
well.
Well, I think
Like you said, cost.
what they ask for then goes to the committee and then the committee makes
Yeah.
recommendations.
But there was
Is that-
two different things. So we had a request that dealt with the same area before he actually showed up. So he and his neighbor showed up when we already had a traffic control progressed
Yeah.
on the same form. And that's what we took to the traffic safety committee was
Yeah.
the form that had been filled out, not what he necessarily talked about here in the meeting.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, I would feel better about having the four-way stop analysis and see if, I mean, I know he's not asking for that, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
seems like, has that helped on the south side of town
It
to have the
has, yeah, you're
four-ways
seeing a lot more
stopping and
stopping and,
slowing down?
but they're flashing lights too, that's the other thing.
Now, a few years ago, I was able to apply for a grant for a lot of those flashing LED stops. And I got 41 of them that were purchased by the state. Once they purchase them through that grant, though, we have to maintain them and we
And
have to
they're kind
replace
of a
them.
pain to maintain.
They are.
Terrible.
Cold
Yeah.
weather, batteries, solar cells.
Cloudy
We
weather.
have over a few years
Extended.
probably replaced every single one of those and some of them multiple times,
The signs or the lights?
both.
System, yeah.
Okay,
It depends on which sign you get, but some of them are integrated into the sign itself and
I see.
you, if it goes bad, you
Have to have the whole.
have the whole thing.
I think we got about all of those replaced now. All the
Yeah,
ones
with the
that-
rings.
And they'll last how much longer? I mean, it sounds like they don't last very long.
It just depends. It's kind of hit or miss. But battery's been a huge issue.
And then, I mean, how much effort or cost is it to install the cross traffic does not stop and the intersection ahead signs?
It shouldn't be a big deal.
Those are easy to do, so should we just do that? And then,
The painting the fog line is a lot more
trouble and
trouble.
expense.
Yeah, because we have to find the time and hire somebody to do it.
Add that to ITS's
Yeah.
list of things to paint.
And then the reflective tape, that's not much effort either, is it, to put that on there, so let's do that. Let's do those things, and I don't know, how do you feel about the fog one? Doesn't sound like it makes that much difference.
Yeah, if it's not gonna make a huge amount of difference, I don't know that we need to go with that.
Everything else,
And what costs you looking at to do that? Cause I know traffic safety does it, is that?
Yeah, they do it. It was, what, $6.75 a gallon this year to
for the fog
It
one.
was
paint.
to paint. $6.75 per gallon. And they put down.
Like-
Uh,
5,900 gallons, something like
a mile or
that.
something.
Yeah, it's,
But this is just for a short distance.
right.
Yeah, but it's still, it still costs you. The time to do it,
Yeah,
it'll probably still cost you a few $100s to do an intersection with. With the fog light.
and. I'd say see what we do with the tape and the
See how that
reflection stuff. Yeah. And then you'll still do the study, right? Is that?
Yeah, on those two intersections.
And number one, that looks easy enough to meet their request.
Yeah,
They asked
Yeah.
for, well, they asked for LED crosswalk signs.
right. And they've already got a push button
Mm.
crosswalk sign with a great big orange light on top of it.
Yeah.
But we can put the crosswalk ahead sign.
Which were
Yeah.
flashing nonstop for about 2
Yeah.
days straight. I think they finally got them fixed.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah,
Those are the schools that set those up.
Yeah.
What do they call those? Saber crossings or?
Beacon crosses,
The RRFB,
yeah,
rapid rectangular flashing.
beacon crossings, yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was a
There's a,
special name for it.
yeah. There's a special name for some of them that are push button activated,
Yeah,
RRFBs.
like the one on 45th. And
The one on 45th East is a hawk signal,
that's.
and that hawk signal is. Steps way above the RRFB, but it's also cost wise. It's a lot of money. Their average cost is roughly $100,000.
So you'll still run.
so you're good with installing the crosswalk ahead sign?
Yeah. I'm trying to get through the ones that are. Number 4, it looks like they're asking for the same things as below.
60 fits.
Yes. Yeah, they wanted the speed limit reduced and change the intersection to a 4-way stop sign with flashing signs and trim trees. I went out and looked at the trees. There's not an issue with trees. They're trimmed back out of the site triangle, so
Everybody wants the flashing signs, I see.
They do.
I mean, what I see, well. What people want, they don't understand is not always the solution to the problem they have.
They think it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very small example, but I've battled the signs in the courthouse for years. It's like everybody thinks one more sign's gonna solve the problem. When one more sign usually just,
Confuses the problem.
yeah, it just makes it so people pay less attention, not more attention, so.
Same is true with street signs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as I was looking through this, is more signs are not necessarily better.
Where's McCown at? Where's myself in McCown Lane?
McCowan is east of 45th East and 49th South and 45th. We go east about a half a mile. That's where McCowan is.
So do you usually, is this about the same number? This seems like a lot, but maybe it's not.
We've had them before where we've had 10 requests, we've had before where 2 or 3. We tend not to bring less than that just because
I
it's
see.
quite a bit of work to get the whole committee together.
Right.
So I've tried to keep it just like, if we're gonna do this, let's get at least 5 of them together.
Okay, so you want us to address all of these right now would be best for you?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Any other, I'll let you go on 2, 3, and 4, Carl.
So is McCown Lane just a resident, or is it a?
I got another meeting.
Thanks,
I'll let you
Austin.
guys finish having fun.
Let
Thanks,
us,
Austin.
So in the number 2 packet, there should be a
pictures.
I did you get the wrong one? I did.
Number 3. Is it number 2 or number?
Let's give to. Person. Okay, yeah, well, on mine, the picture in number 3 is McCown Lane, shows McCown Lane.
Is that the one that goes up to the cemetery? Or not?
No,
I think
No.
so, no.
So that's down below, Comorlum, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So just,
yeah, just right where that canal is, okay.
yeah, just west of that canal, you can see a ditch that zigzags back and forth there on the south side of
Yeah.
the road.
Is it just that one residence, or is there more?
Well, that's where her son ran off the road into that ditch and totaled the car, so that's why she got and died.
Oh.
And
Is that legit, you think?
No.
That sounds like a.
Committee's recommendations were to maybe see if we can do a little bit of shoulder work there. And maybe try and get a hold of that farmer, the landowner on the south side, and see if we can have that ditch moved. And it didn't even appear, when you look at it on Google Earth, that it's a ditch. It looks like maybe they had a blowout there in the canal, or not just where the water went, because it ends down there.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder, if this is the same woman I've talked to before at the BMPO meeting, but she says they wish this entire road was wider with nice gutters and sidewalks for the many walkers, runners, and cyclists.
Which one are you talking about now?
The number 3. And I remember, she's there saying, we don't want BMPO. We want these bicycle, lanes and everything. It's like, do you know what that costs? You live in the county because you don't want to pay higher tax. I mean, and I did essentially say that to her, was that people live in the county because they don't want to have to pay for curbs and sidewalks and running lanes.
So when she said ideally, I wish this entire road was wider, is she talking about 49 South or McCown Lane?
yeah, 49 south.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
And the only accidents that showed up on the state's website were 2 crashes. One was a person versus a tree, and the other one was a person versus a deer, so.
Yeah. I know they have a lot of them at the intersection of 45th and 49th.
And apparently a person versus a ditch.
So number three, my
Six.
recommendation, we go with.
They must not have
revocation.
reported that one.
Yeah,
And it depends on what it was, because the database has 5 years of data on a rolling data.
right.
Yeah,
But for 2024, we might not get it till
Right.
June of this year.
yeah. 49 south of 4050. Oh, she's on that one too.
Yeah.
Reduce speed to 40, so are they talking about on 4050s, reducing the speed to 40?
Yes.
Cause it's that way all the way up there, north of there.
But that's what I mean by the over signage, and you're talking about the over regulation, you put it to 40, everybody thinks that's ridiculous. So once they've decided to not obey the speed limit.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. So you gotta get the compliance to where people think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
It's the buy-in,
And they use the term reasonable and prudent,
right?
what 85% of the people will drive. So
So I guess I'd be the same as what we did with number 5, is that I don't worry about the fog line, but. That warrant analysis, cross traffic does not stop sign, and then reflective. Date.
Okay.
Is there some way of giving feedback to these people? You know, should we call them or?
I will call them and let them know what's happened and what we're planning to do.
Would you let her know about our concerns with the 40 mph, that what we've seen is that people don't comply with it, and then effectively there's no speed limit.
Okay.
Since she's so specific in that recommendation.
in the past, if there have been a lot of these that have done that. If it's a simple, put up a stop sign or put up a yield sign or put up
Right.
something like that, I typically haven't called them. We just go put the
Right,
signs up.
right, and they
and
can
they-
see it, yeah.
There's others that if it's against their recommendation or something totally different is happening, I tried to let them know.
Well, where she's gone twice and where it sounds like it might be the same person I've talked to before, that's why I say maybe just respond to her.
Yeah.
Or I can if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. I've tried to, after each of these, I'll give them a call and let them know what's been decided, so.
Yeah, that whole speed on 65th South, there's a guy that email or calls dispatch probably 2 or 3 times a day. About the speed of trucks coming down.
He's just trying to help you guys.
Yeah, and he actually bought a radar and he's out there saying,
Yeah.
I just got a truck going at 65 miles an hour.
I told him not to do that.
They still do.
I had so many conversations with him too.
Oh, I don't know that, yeah.
And he even bought his own little speed signs and put them up on.
Yeah, I don't
telephone
like
poles.
those either. I've seen those before too. It's like, you guys don't understand, this doesn't help.
Yeah.
Okay,
So number 4, I think is very similar. You said the trees don't need to be trimmed, right? So,
No, they are all out of the sight triangle.
just do the same thing, but not the fog line.
yeah, that's again my recommendation.
Unless, if you think we're wrong to say, don't worry about this fog line, please say so. Because I see it's recommended here several times. If your committee really thinks that's needed, then let's go ahead and do it, but.
I think if we were on a section of road where we were paying the whole mile
Uh-huh,
consistently, then I think it might,
500-foot strips.
yeah,
yeah, that's what it seems like. to me.
that's where I think loses effectiveness. And if we're trying to paint the whole mile, and the cost just,
Right,
to me. it's
far
like,
exceeds the
we're-
effectiveness.
yeah. When we're paying $6.75 per gallon to paint,
Right,
and we're providing the paint for them, and we're providing the beads for them. All the $6.75 per gallon that's just for them to put it down on the road.
and then number 3, you'll do that one too, is that? What was it? Anything else you need from us? Did you guys get one of our stickers?
No,
You guys are Bonneville County sticker. I thought about giving them to the people at Progressive, but I wasn't sure how that'd go.
So I did get the text from Commissioner Walker and I did put it on the
Oh, good.
last document that I sent out.
Yeah, apparently that's part of getting the patent or the trademark or something, is that we have to be using it extensively or
Oh, really?
so that's why we're asking everybody to use it.
I need to update our stuff.
What's that?
I need to update our stuff.
Yeah,